What's the motherfucking deal? Welcome to Saw Sports. If you're not familiar with Saw Sports is a Houston, Texas homer network. It means we're talking all sports, but only Houston. So with that being said, we're going to get into a little bit of conversation about a rational recap of yesterday's game versus the Browns. I'm your host, Ed Honcho, your Houston homeboy, your Houston homer, a.k.a. HonchoSaucy. Make sure you show a little bit of love, man, and you can follow Saw Sports at Saw Sports HTX on Instagram and Twitter. If you just fucking with your boy Ed Honcho, you can catch me at Ed Honcho HTX on Instagram and Twitter. Same name, different platforms, all that other good stuff. And again, I want to thank you for joining me this evening, man, because there's just there's a few things I want to talk about. And if you want to make sure you get some of that fresh Saw Sports merch, go to staysaucy.com. And actually going to be changing that up pretty soon. And shout out to everybody who has been fucking with the sauce, man. Make sure you check your mailboxes within the next couple of days. Most of you should have your stuff in, by Thursday. With that being said, like I said, I want to thank you guys who come through, who fuck with the sauce on a daily basis. I want to talk about the Browns versus the Texans yesterday, and I just want to talk about a rational recap. Like I said, usually we'll recap the game. We'll do a live stream. I don't think I'll be streaming tonight, but I just want to talk about the 5 plays to me that stood out the most in this game, that kind of defined the game, in my opinion. And let's just get into it to win it, honestly. In no particular order, I just want to talk about these 5 plays in particular because, like I said, I feel like these plays were game changers in the Texans' victory over the Browns. The first play I want to talk about is the Zach Cunningham pick six. And a few noticeable things about that pick six were, that's one, I don't think that we've seen a linebacker do that in a Texans uniform that athletically, if you understand what I'm saying. I'm just talking about the dive. The interception was one-handed. And just the way that team got out there, they started blocking for him. He ran over McKinney and still kept pushing, was still able to secure the touchdown. And another thing that I'm glad, because all turnovers are reviewed, all scoring plays are reviewed, that I'm glad that, the right call got made because it was a touchdown. The foot was still there before he went out of bounds. I'm glad the right call got made because initially it was called on the 1 yard line. And either way, it still would have been a great play. But I think that the fact that that they got it right made it that much sweeter because, you're like, well, fuck it, they're going to call it on the 1. And then the fact that they went back and looked at it and they gave us the touchdown that we so rightfully deserves. It wasn't like we weren't going to punch in the end zone either way. You just want to give that credit to Zach Cunningham. So I thought that was a beautiful thing. I just think the way that overall it was just kind of a team victory. And, as Clowney was getting held, they still turned the ball over. And that's what I think that a lot of people don't take into account, the pressure that Clowney brings and what he does to quarterbacks that, may not show up on the stat sheet, but in the back of their head, they're thinking Clowney's coming and they're afraid. And this is what makes them make key mistakes in games like this. Second thing I want to talk about, again, in no particular order, not top 5, not in particular order as how the game went on. Just like I say, just 5 plays that I think were game changers. The second play I thought was huge was the Justin Reed play where he basically hawked old buddy down. Who was that? Callaway, I think. It wasn't Landry. It was Callaway, I do believe. So whatever his name was. And, people say he eased up or he was out of gas or whatever. It doesn't matter. Justin Reed made an exceptional play. That's why the play is not over until it's over. That should be teaching tape for any young football players out there because you have to know that the play is not over until the whistle blows. And again, old buddy probably thought he was going to coast the end zone. He beat a couple of guys, and he kind of was, he might have been easing up just a little bit, but Justin Reed did not ease up. He finished the play, knocked that ball out. Now, the only thing about that was, a lot of people were talking shit, and I probably was talking shit too early, right after, but after we went back and watched it, we were discussing, like, what the fuck was Colvin thinking? But if you look, Honey Badger's calling for the damn ball, and, so he's the one that kind of gets, that's not on Colvin, because Colvin looked like he was trying to make a decision whether to come out or not, and I think he probably would have stayed, but Honey Badger asked for it, so he said, fuck it. He gave it to him. Ultimately, it did not come back to bite us in the ass, really. We were already comfortable with it, so cool, but that's just something that maybe they need to work on in practice this week, because I expect a lot more turnovers coming within the next few weeks, looking at the schedule that we have and the quarterbacks we play. But again, 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, ultimately that's what matters. We got the Colts coming up next. Third play that I thought was huge play in this game for a multitude of reasons, not just affecting the game itself, But I just think overall for the team chemistry and everything that goes with it was the Andre Howell interception. The reason, a couple of things that you got to look at. That Andre Howell just came back, from cancer, beating what was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And to come back as quickly as he did, bam, huge boost to the team. But then to come back and be making plays in the fashion that he made plays. Because at first he should have been a fumble by the God damn, I was thinking of his name. I can't think of his name now, but they smashed him. But he ended up making a play later on in the game, the tight end for the Browns. And to me, that was a fumble, of course, because of the shit that happened with the Redskins a couple of weeks back. They called a fumble on Hopkins when he never really had possession of the ball ever. So I felt like, hey, maybe, football gods will give us our redemption. But we played well enough that the football gods blessed us with a solid victory and lots of turnovers. But I felt like that should have been a fumble, and Howell would have had that recovery. But then what is it, like the next play or two later, How and the way he just the interceptions were beautiful. Again, you could tell that this Texans team was able to read Baker like a book, basically, when they were actually trying to apply pressure and get to him, when they weren't just really trying to coast the rest of the game out. You could tell that they were able to read him well. And that kind of leads me into my next play, which would be the fourth play. And again, another interception, and I just have to. It's mostly defensive, but damn near all defense. Of course, there's going to be one play on the offense. I got to give them a little bit of love. But the Jonathan Joseph interception, and the Jonathan Joseph interception was so beautiful because, you go back and you look at it. Joseph baited Baker Mayfield into making that throw. Looked like he was off coverage. He looked like he was making the wrong read, and then he just comes back and times it perfectly and intercepts it. Again, it would have been nice if he took it to the house, but hey, no complaint. Jonathan Joseph has a habit of intercepting Browns quarterbacks. Doesn't matter if they think they're good or not. If they're in the Browns uniform, if they're in the Browns, he's going to take it down. Maybe, something like that. But, again, like I say, excellent play by Jonathan Joseph. And I know a lot of people talking about, Joseph's getting up in age, he's getting too old. And, you're kind of concerned right now because I know he had the stinger, and we'll see what that situation entails for him coming up this week. But usually, you've seen guys bounce back off of stingers. So hopefully he will be available next week against Luck, because we're going to need all hands on deck. And again, with some of the lineman injuries that we took or that happened yesterday, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens overall. And I think next time we do get on stream, we will discuss that, how the linemen, needing the linemen, how that will affect Foreman, because I think they only have a couple of days I think they have to do it this week for that 21-day window. It seems crazy because it seems like, we've just gotten going and that 21 days is almost up for Deontay Foreman. But I guess when you're winning, it's exciting. Things keep going along, keep chugging along, and, you just kind of enjoying the ride. But I want to talk about the fifth play, the final play that I think was critical in the Texans win. And it wasn't a major play in the sense of wasn't a huge change of field. It wasn't a turnover. It wasn't just a big hit. But what it was from the greatest wide receiver in the game, and we've been saying this for years. This is not a new thing because a lot of new people want to get on the whole. He's the best, man. We've been saying this for a long time. As long as Sauce has been here, last year and some change. They've been saying it since day one. I've been saying it for years prior to ever starting Sauce Sports, and I know a lot of guys in the roundtable. I'm sure a lot of you fans have, but there's like this new breed of national media coming in, or national thought. Well, you look at what he's done. We've been saying this shit for years, and it's what kills me is because it's shit we've been saying for a long time in the fucking city of Houston, and now the national media is getting on it. Now it's like it's a hot take. DeAndre Hopkins, best wide receiver in the game. We've been saying this shit for a long time, so it's like it's to the point where he's excited to me. We ain't even impressed by this shit. Shit. They're like, oh my god, did he get? That's DeAndre, man. DeAndre, go do your thing. It's like we're not even worried about the shit no more because it's just we're so used to it. We expect it. He's put himself on a plateau so much higher than any of the rest of these guys. Of course, when you're in New York, or you're playing with big name quarterbacks, and you have a bunch of other talent around you that allows you to get open the way you do. We're not going to drop any names, AB. When you have all these other stars around you that make it easier for you to play the game. When you have been the man for so long. I'm not saying that Will Fuller isn't valid, but we know Will has been hurt a lot. DeAndre Hopkins is still being able to do it. Double cover, single coverage. It has to be a nightmare. Because who was that? Man, I can't remember none of these Browns players' names because in the moment, they were relevant, and now they're just kind of, another one bites the dust on to the next one. Old buddy who was playing him, damn it, I knew his name, something with a C, whatever it is, doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. Drop it in the comment section below if you remember what his name is, but he's pretty much irrelevant. And hey, let me get a what's the motherfucking deal. You know, if you ain't got nothing else to say, let me get a what's the motherfucking deal down in the comment section. You know, Sauce Nation, I fuck with y'all. If you're new to this and not true to this, man, hit that subscribe and like button, because like I said, we do this every day. It's always sauce dripping. But again, the play with DeAndre, where basically old buddy ripped his helmet off and had a PI on the same play. It was a pass interference, and then again it was a face mask because he snatched his fucking helmet off. Yet DeAndre still seals the deal, and I believe he did go for a first down and, you know, move the chains, because DeAndre is a beast like that. A lot of people just see his finesse, but they don't see the toughness, because what these corners do to DeAndre every game and the shit that these referees allow, who was it? Was Jabril Peppers after the whistle throwing him down on the ground. And usually you see Hop, he don't get out of character, he don't get out of element, he just goes in, he plays the game. Now when motherfuckers get out of line, don't play him like no hope, because we know Hop will scrap. He's a you know, he gonna make it do what it do. But you know, they let a lot of this shit go away. He gets away with a lot of shit. And I was wondering, you know, like, you know, he wore the Kaepernick jersey shirt thing to the game before. You know, he was talking about, you know, that's my homeboy. And again, like I say, I don't judge anybody for whatever their opinions is. I don't really give a shit. You know, don't really involve me like that. If he supports Kaepernick, if you do or you don't, you know, that's on you. Whatever your opinions are, I really don't give a shit. But I'm wondering, because, you know, the league got the case. They probably made a call into the referees. Don't you give him a single fucking call. You god damn it. It would have to be egregious and blatant. Don't you give him a goddamn call. He's representing that goddamn Kaepernick. You know, the fucking NFL hates Kaepernick, because there's no way guys like some of these guys that's on this team, y'all can say whatever you want to. No legitimate person on earth can say guys like Blake Bortles, or who's the backup for Bill Peterman. You can't tell me fucking old buddy in San Francisco. You can't tell me there's a lot of these guys that are in the league with jobs are better than fucking Colin Kaepernick, because this is a guy that took San Francisco to the big dance. And none of these guys can't win fucking games. So miss me with that shit. You know, whether you like him or whether you don't, be honest with yourself. The dude is better than pretty much every backup quarterback in the league. And he's probably better than 25% at least of starting quarterbacks in this league. And, you know, you can say whatever you want to say to yourself, but it is what it is. But I understand the, you know, the reason why, the drama and everything that comes with that. And so, you know, it's a business at the end of the day. But again, saying about Kaepernick, it's about the motherfucking Houston Texans and the win streak continuing, 9-3. Bill O'Brien has to win one more against these Colts, man. They're coming down to Houston. We beat them earlier in Indy. I think we seal the division with this win. And so it's very necessary, you know, because one, we need a whole position in the AFC South. It's not just the AFC South, like the AFC period. You know, with with, you know, Pittsburgh doing whatever they do, I don't see why people are still so high on it. Pittsburgh is not as good as everybody's trying to make them out to be. With Kansas City, going to have some interesting games coming up, because Kansas City let the Raiders, no Khalil, no Amari, and everything else that's been going on with that team, let them put up 33. Again, no Hunt, very interesting situation. That Kansas City defense is terrible and not built for the playoffs, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. Yeah, the numbers are cool, all that stuff is beautiful, but I told y'all that on you know, when they had that Monday night back and forth shit, that shows you that, you know, that offense is high flying, they can score, but they have to score. They cannot afford to ever let up on the pressure. The Texans, on the other hand, one, you're not going to score like that on our defense, and we're going to make you. You're going to have to play our game and beat us at our own game, and that's what's so beautiful about the Texans being such a complete team. We make teams play our game, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because again, Andrew Luck had a great game. I want to say the first time we played, and really shouldn't have been that great, but you know, we get soft in the second half every time we go in with a big lead. You know, Purnell likes to keep everything in front of them, and then that allows these quarterbacks to amass a shit ton of yards. I want to say Luck had like 400 some yards when he earlier this year, when we had a nice, we were up, I forgot how much we were, like damn near 20 points, something like that, 18 points, 20 points, however much we were up on them going into the second half earlier this year. And then, you know, the same situation with Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying that Baker's bad. Baker's got some growing to do. He had a couple of things where he reminded me similarly of Deshaun, and I want to say on that play where he threw it to Howell, because he had a man open underneath, but he was looking deep for the big shot, and again, you had pressure bearing down on you, so he was trying to go for the money and, you know, make the hero play. And then what happens is, you know, this is not college, this ain't definitely the Big 12, and you know, you gotta You just got to get used to it. He made some rookie mistakes, but again, he'll develop, he'll get better. But right now, I don't think he's feeling too dangerous. And, you know, everybody's made that joke. I had to get mine in too. But hey, man, look here, Jack. Let me tell y'all something, man. Hey, y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. And I appreciate all of y'all who've been fucking with the sauce. Again, like I say, I sent out some care packages for some folks. And so I hope y'all get those. Hope y'all appreciate that for some super sauce supporters. And again, you know, I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Man, consider sliding to the Patreon and supporting the Sauce via Patreon. Patreon.com/Sauce Sports. You can check out the podcast on Spotify. It's available on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, all the major platforms. Just type in Sauce Sports, it'll be there. And I know it hasn't been as consistent. I had to do some things, I had to change in my schedule. I was pulling a bunch of late nights the last month or two, and so it's kind of hindered me, you know, putting the podcast more out early, because I've been kind of missing some hours early on. So like I said, I'm gonna get that back on schedule. Everything's back on track now. And like I say, bring y'all more sauce than ever, because like I say, in 2019, we're trying to take this thing to the next level. And hey, with your support, we can get there. And I appreciate everybody who has been showing love already. I appreciate everybody who's been behind this thing, been just rolling with this. Shout out to the round table. Shout out to all the Sauce Nation. You guys are the freshest motherfucking ingredients. Again, you can check out Sauce Sports at Sauce Sports HTX on Instagram and Twitter. Bam, I'll put that there for you. And again, hey, slide by staysaucy.com to get some of the freshest gear in sports conversation in Houston. That's staysaucy.com. Get you some of that fresh Sauce Sports merch, man. And I appreciate, again, like I say, everybody who's been supporting. But with that being said, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. I'm chunking up the deuce. Again, y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. Y'all stay saucy, and I'm out.